Warhammer mothering 40k. How do you even begin to explain a 30-plus-year-old universe with such mind-boggling scale? Like, you got Smurfs, you got Goths, you got weeaboo communists, an army of Arnold Schwarzeneggers, pansy-ass elves, emo elves, furries, Starship Troopers.
Do you think I'm funny? Do I make you laugh? Do you think I'm a comedian, son? Run, I said! Run! Rusty, keep pace! Move your ass!
All kinds of bugs, steampunk cosplayers, a bunch of demons, spelled daemons, because copyright's a thing, and a whole bunch of Wah, indeed, my friends, because there is a lot of that going on in Warhammer. Some of you might have heard of Warhammer 40k from the many amazing video game titles. Maybe a family member got you interested in Warhammer. They're currently actively playing and trying to get you to play with them, or you found an old miniature or codex lying around the house and decided to figure out more about this badass looking universe. Or if you're like me, you might have kind of gotten a little too drunk with your friends one Friday night magic, and you know, like most normal people, you gotta pee, you waddle your way over to the bathroom. Halfway there, you kind of realize you don't know which part of the story you're at. You look around, you see a bunch of paints and some cool ass looking miniatures that look kind of familiar, but you don't really know from where. So you go and you check them out a little bit more, and you like anybody else, I'm sure, you know, you kind of spend half of your savings account on Tau, but no biggie, you know, and the rest is history. But enough about me and my poor decisions. The point of the video is to inform you guys about this amazing universe and get you hooked, so you can make the same dumb decisions I did. Not going to lie to you guys, Warhammer is kind of intimidating at first because the universe is so large and the lore is so expansive. Probably one of the biggest sci-fi universes that I know of, so I think the best place to start for everybody would be with humanity. What is our brilliant, ingenuitive, progressive,
Hope it didn't go.
ambitious, species doing in the 41st millennium the exact same goddamn thing we've always done, which is be complete assholes to one another and destroy everything else around us. Except instead of flinging nuclear feces at one another in one planet, we're out there exterminating the whole goddamn universe. In this time period, the policy is, if it ain't human and it don't look human, kill it.
Jab! Hit! Jab, help me!
Granted, things weren't always that bad. At one point in human history, we expanded out into the cosmos. We had achieved godlike technology. Our knowledge was vast. Everybody was super happy. It was like a party all the time. Everybody was rich and super smart. It was basically like Elon Musk. Everybody was Elon Musk, and everybody had a Tesla. But then we decided to fuck things up like we always do. Because I guess somebody decided, hey, you know what? It's not enough that we live in a fucking utopia. I want a robot servant. So then we decided to create the Man of Stone, which hence they then created the Man of Iron. And then the Man of Iron had enough of our bullshit and tried to wipe us out, which led to a horrible, horrible war sometime in the 20th millennium. And it fucked our shit up so bad that we went from an intergalactic utopian human empire to being bound back to our planet, swinging sticks and stones at each other, trying to kill one another over whatever scraps were left in order for us to survive. And to add some icing to the shit cake that humanity went through, another race of aliens called the Eldar decided to butt fuck each other hard enough with giant dragon dildos to the point where they gave birth to a god of chaos, making space travel impossible for the rest of the galaxy. So things were just horrible for everyone. And that's when Big Daddy E showed up. Big Daddy E, or the Emperor of Mankind, is basically the alpha Chad of all Chads that have ever Chad and will ever Chad. He's different, you know? He is the hope of the Omniverse, the light bulb in the darkness, the bacon in the fridge for all living things that cry out in hunger, the Alpha and the Omega. He is the terror that flaps in the night. He is humanity's savior, and he is a wrecked, crippled skeleton that can't wipe his own ass no more. It's a sad story of how the Emperor became crippled, and we will get into that in a little bit. But back when the Emperor was still at his prime, he was leading us out of our darkest of times. The Emperor has been around for a while, so he's a pretty smart guy, not to mention an extremely powerful psyker. Unlike most people in the galaxy, he knew what humanity was and how far that humanity has fallen. I mean, we went from a fucking utopia to every planet basically being Australia. One day the Emperor decided he had enough of this bullshit, so he decided to start unifying the shit out of humanity. He started on Earth, of course. There were a ton of different warring tribes and nations. Now the Emperor's a pretty powerful guy, but he knew he couldn't unify all of humanity on his own. He started to gather allies, such as Malkador the Sigilite, his bro for life, and he also started creating his super soldiers, the Thunder Warriors. The Thunder Warriors weren't like the Space Marines that you see plastered all over Warhammer art. They were basically roided up versions of the modern Space Marine. They were stronger, faster, and a hell of a lot dumber and way mentally unstable. But they got the job done. They unified the shit out of the warring tribes on Earth, and once Earth was nice and secure, the Emperor decided to spread the unification across the galaxy, and right next on the bucket list was the planet of Mars. The only problem was that the Emperor had just secured a completely demolished planet that he was just starting to rebuild. He had to rebuild infrastructure, he had to rebuild resource gathering facilities, establish stable governments, build fleets to conquer the rest of the galaxy. At this point he was starting to create the modern day Space Marine, but worst of all, through some shenanigans, his most important project, the godlike Primarchs, ended up getting lost. The Primarchs were basically the Emperor's children. They were supposed to be his generals, the rulers of his new galactic empire, but they ended up getting yeeted out into the galaxy. Meanwhile, Mars had kept their shit together a lot better than Earth had through some really fucked up means. Compared to Earth, Mars was a superpower, so the Emperor knew he couldn't just unify the shit out of them. Instead, he decided to diplomacy the shit out of them. He went to Mars, and with him being super charismatic, he somehow convinced the people of Mars that he was their machine god.
Yeah, boy!
Mars decided to form a coalition with us. They didn't fully join the Imperium of Man, mainly because they had their own religion where they worship machines, whereas the Emperor, he had a no religion policy, but he made an exception this one time because he really wanted those big, thick titans. Once Mars joined the Imperium of Man, the Emperor in his infinite wisdom straight away started trademarking that shit. He switched the logo for all of humanity from a thunderbolt over to the Imperial Aquila. The significance of this change is important, mainly because of what the Imperial Aquila represents. See, the Aquila is an eagle with two heads. One head is blindfolded and looking back. This represents humanity's ability to look at our past, to learn from our traditions, our history, and to not repeat the same mistakes of old. And then the other head is looking forward to humanity's bright future. Now that Mars finally had joined the Imperium of Man, the rest of the solar system was easy to reclaim. The other important places in the solar system was Luna, which was colonized and had a lot of good technology, and then Saturn, which had large shipyards. With the solar system secure, the Emperor had ships. He had weapons. He had the industrial capacity to support a large war effort. He had everything he needed to start unifying the shit out of humanity's lost colonies. Except he was lacking some manpower. You would think that having an entire solar system under your control would provide you with enough troops to start unifying the rest of humanity. Well, that's still just one solar system. The Emperor knew he was gonna go up against hundreds of thousands of different planets. He had no idea at this point if there was another human empire out there that could rival him, so he knew that he couldn't just win a war of attrition. He couldn't just throw normal soldiers out there and expect them to actually win these major conflicts. No, the Emperor was a man of quality over quantity, and he needed more quality soldiers. This is why he formed up the 20 legions with the remaining genetic material that he had of his 20 Primarchs. Now, before I can get into details on what a Primarch is, I would like to elaborate more on exactly what a Space Marine is. The Space Marines, or Adeptus Astartes, are the Emperor's finest warriors. They are the baddest of the badasses that humanity can muster. Whereas the Thunder Warriors were created to completely dominate and brutalize your enemies, the Astartes were created to control the galaxy. So not only are the Space Marines naturally gifted at the art of war, they're also provided with the best training that humanity can offer. And to add to all of this skill and raw natural talent, they are further augmented with special organs, which basically makes them the next step of human evolution. Some of these crazy implants include a secondary heart that will act as a backup just in case the first one fails, and it also helps increase the blood flow and oxygen to the muscles of the Space Marine. There's another organ called the os modula. This organ basically releases human growth hormone as the Space Marine develops, making each Space Marine about 7 feet to 7.5 feet tall. That's right, no midgets in the Emperor's army. In total, there's 19 different organs that are implanted throughout the Space Marine's life, and each one of them is crazy strong, and I'll go into full details on the making of a Space Marine in a different video. Right now, we're gonna get back on the story of how the Emperor clapped the galaxy's cheeks with his legions of Astartes. These legions were the Warborn, the First, the Ghost Legion, the Iron Warriors, the Luna Wolves, the Warhounds, the Imperial Heralds, the Revenant Legion, the Stormwalkers, the Emperor's Children, Imperial Fist, Space Wolves, Dusk Raiders, Thousand Sons, Dragon Warriors, Raven Guard, the Night Lords, and the Star Hunters. Now, I mentioned that he was building up 20 legions of Astartes, and so far I've only mentioned 18. That's because the remaining 2 legions, we are never told their name or whatever happened to them. All we know is that there was originally 20, and now there's 18. Along with the 2 missing legions, there are also 2 missing Primarchs. Speaking of the Primarchs, finding them was next on the Emperor's agenda, and the main reason why was because the Emperor could not create more Space Marines without the unique genetic material that each Primarch contained inside of them. This genetic code enabled the growth of additional organs that are needed in order to create a Space Marine. Without this genetic blueprint, the creation of new organs would be severely slowed down and the purity would decrease. This would cause the organs to be less effective and have a chance of creating random mutations. Before you know it, you'd get some really weird shit like furry Space Marines or Space Marines with chicken wings. And so with a clear mission and a pimped out fleet called the Principa Imperialis, he set forth to slap them cheeks, and he called this great galaxy-wide cheek clapping the Great Crusade.
Let's go!
And this concludes the first part of this lore series. This lore series will be from the human perspective. I'm not sure how many parts there will be, but I will also do lore videos from the perspective of different races. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more wargaming entertainment. New videos uploaded every, at this point it's every Black Crusade I upload a new video.